yesterday, right? What we were doing is we were talking about how do we transform the data using Spark application. What we've done is we have written a Spark program here, right? So this is the application that we have written yesterday. Okay, and when we did execute it, it took a lot of time to, it didn't submit the application. So the reason for that could be I've been using this particular cluster without closing for the past 1 month or more than that, I guess. So because of that, all the in-memory got filled. That's what I believe. So what I've done is I've restarted my cluster and the code looks the same. There is no change in the code. And I execute it, it will execute now. This is where it got stuck in our previous session, right? The client, the application didn't get submitted. Now it got submitted and it is executing. Yeah, it got finished as well. So what I've done is I've stored the output here in Spark OP3. Yeah, this is where you should see the output. The join output of both these data sets. Yeah, there you go. So finally it is working fine. The only change is I've restarted my cluster. Maybe all the in-memories and the buffers got cleared off when I restarted my cluster and it started working fine. And there is no change in the code. It looks pretty clean, right? The one we have written yesterday, in yesterday's session is the one here. Okay, let me copy it to the notepad because at the end of the session I'm going to give you a case study related to this, right? Related to this, I'm going to give you a case study. Yeah. So I'll stop here for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, yeah, Lakan, you can proceed with your questions and whatever you were asking earlier. Others, you have any questions, you can raise your hand.
The morning session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
so
I'm able.
In the morning session, first you have used flat map for the RDD, and then again you changed your mind and then you used map, right? So I just want to know your thought process, like when you use that, and how did you get to change that?
Simple, Lakan. When I looked at the output, what is the output did we look at? We looked at a single character output, right? You remember the output that we got? Every single character got changed. Because that happens usually only when, maybe a word Lakan is there. Okay, when I pass that to flat map, it emits the output as, so it's going to flatten your output. Okay, so that's how I understood. Okay, why is it getting individual characters? Maybe because of flat map. So let me change it to map. So what happened is when I applied a flat map, it got changed to individual words, individual characters. And what I've done is I've used a map, so it remains as is. Your key remains as is, and then whatever transformation you wanted to apply, it will be applied on your entire key. When I apply it on a flat map, what happens? I'm supposed to apply my transformations on Lakan, but it is applying on L, A, K, H, A, N separately. But that's not what I want. I want every line that I take from this file A that needs to be passed as an input to the passed file A. Am I correct, Lakan? That's how I recognize it. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and I have one more question, last question.
Please,
So,
please.
practical knowledge in DH5, you said like you would be sending us a working directory and then we do some entire.
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. I'll do one thing. I'll do an task of the entire working directory today, and I'll prepare a document as well on how to untar it and what you're supposed to do. That should help you out, right?
Yeah, actually tired, but I'll figure it out. So
Yeah. I will tell you what you're supposed to do.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think rest all are clear, right? What we are doing right now, what we have done. I mean, it's the same session as yesterday. I've not done anything more. I've just executed the code once again to show you how it is working. What I've done is I restarted the cluster. That's what I've done, and it did work fine. Okay, as simple as that. Now, I would like to talk about few other things today. When I say few other things, I would like to first start with data frames using Spark. Okay, so what is this data frames? I was already telling you. I have some. Please concentrate on these things. These are very important. I could see certain files inside my working directory datasets packet. First of all, I wanted to run some analytics on top of these files. Okay, so let me of it. It's a binary format. So what's so special in Parquet? First of all, let me talk about Parquet, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do with that file. See, Parquet is an columnar based binary file format. So what is the advantage of columnar? Let's take an example of Twitter, because Twitter is the owner of Parquet. In collaboration with Cloudera, Twitter had come up with a file format called Parquet, which is a columnar binary file format. So if you look at Twitter data, you have you have more than 250 columns, right? More than 250 columns are there with Twitter. Now, when Twitter had observed what their users are doing with their 250 columns, they found that they are hardly selecting 1 to 10 columns. I mean, at the maximum, they are looking at only 10 columns data. They are not bothered about all the 250 columns. So when they are not bothered about 90% of the columns, why to unnecessarily waste my RAM? Because when I select probably column 1, column 2, column 3 from my Twitter table, it's going to dump your entire row, and from there it's going to select the required columns, right? So that's a time waste for us. I mean, one second. Okay, so I have been taking row by row and I'm filtering the columns that are required for us. But what is the point? I mean, why do I have to dump in the entire row? Because I know at the first point itself my user is asking me only 1 to 4 columns, or the column 6, column 7, column 8 or something, or some random column. Why do I have to unnecessarily take my entire row? That's how a row oriented database works, right? That's not an exception basically. It's the how it it's the way it got designed, I should say. So what I thought is, okay, let's come up with a columnar storage. That means every column will be stored separately. When a user selects certain columns to be selected or dumped in, we will select only those columns. Or we will ignore other columns available in your table. Right? If a user selects only column 2 and column 20, I'll take only those 2 columns because Parquet is a columnar file format. I can happily select only 2 columns without being bothered about other columns. Right? That's one thing. And I'm storing my data in a binary format. So that's why Parquet is the most preferred file format nowadays when your data is huge and when you are working on top of two major things. One is Impala and another thing is on top of Spark, because both are in-memory applications. So Parquet is the most preferred file format for the in-memory applications when the data is very huge and when your tables are very much lengthy and complicated. So that's the story behind Parquet. The owners of Parquet, who has introduced Parquet into the market, is Twitter and Cloudera in a collaboration. They have come up with this file format called Parquet. Okay, that's the story behind Parquet file format. Now let me go into the actual details. So this is something called Wikipedia data. I've collected some Wikipedia data which is there in Parquet file format, and I wanted to run some analytics on top of this. Right? How do I run some analytics on top of this? Maybe let me open one. Right? I could see that in metadata file at the last, I could see the structure of this particular file. There are different fields like ID of type integer. I have title of type. Okay, let me open this particular thing. Then you understand. So, yep. ID of type integer, title of type string, and then modified is of type long, text is of type string again, username of type string. So there are a lot of things here. What I wanted to do is, these are not normal flat files, right? All these are normal flat files. I wanted to run some analytics on top of this flat files. But the thing is, I'm more happy to run some analytics when they are in the file format, in the tabular format, because when they are in format of tables, I can do whatever queries I want, just like that. But these are flat files here. I have to create Hive and then load it into Hive, and then I have to do some SQL analytics or whatever it is. If your intention is to do some analytics on top of a file, a flat file, what Spark says is, hey, you need not go with the table creation. You can do it straight away. How is that? I'm going to show how you are going to do or utilize data frames. So that's what data frames means. You have data available, you are framing it into a table, and you are you're running some analytical queries. That's what all about data frames. Let's see how it works. So I know the structure of my data. I know where it is present. This is present in this particular folder. Now what I'm supposed to do is, I'm supposed to load this, and I'm supposed to run some analytics on top of this. So how is something that we are going to see now. So you have, okay, what I'm trying to do is from PySpark.sql import SQL context. This is the first thing that I would like to do. Okay, I'm trying to import some SQL context. Now, what I'll do is, I already have SC available, right? I already have SC available. So I'm taking the combination of SQL context of SC equal to SQC, something like this. SQC is nothing but combination of SQL context and Spark context. Okay, now what I would like to do is, I would like to load those Parquet files as an RDD. So what I'll do is, input equal to SQC dot, earlier we were using text file, but this is Parquet file, like I told, Parquet file of, right? Parquet file of, I will put that into, that's fine. I'm trying to load all those Parquet files here, so I've loaded it. Now input.count should give you how many records are there inside that particular Parquet directory. Okay, it's not a Parquet file. Okay. So this seems to be throwing some error because see, while copying the file, there could be some issue or something. Let's see. I mean, while copying the files, there could have been some issue. Remove task or okay. Pancake file. Which one is it talking about? It loaded fine. Let me take the count. It is talking about parquet2.cr. Okay, crc files. Okay. Parquet2.crc is not a parquet file. Okay. I'll do one thing. The crc files, right? I'll take it off. Yeah. Now I see only this data. Let me run this particular thing once again. There you go. It is working fine now. What I've done is while copying those CRC files, I mean, those are confirmation files. Those might have got copied. So what I've done is I've removed them. Now I could see the count here. 39,365 records are there. Okay. Now there is an RDT called input into which my data got loaded. Now that input data, what I wanted to do is register temp table. I would like to register it as temp table. Or you can also use a register as table, which is a deprecated one. You can use this also. I wanted to name it as wiki data or something. I wanted to name it as wiki data. Okay, like I told, register temp table can be used. Register table, I guess. Oh, the problem is the spelling mistake. Register as table. So yeah, I've used register temp table. What it is, what it is telling is use register temp table. Okay, that's fine. The input RTD, whatever I have got, I'm registering it as temp table and naming that particular RTD as Wikidata. Okay, so now what I can do is Using this particular SQL context that we have created earlier, right? And using this table name, I can query whatever I want. So let me show that to you. sqc.sql. Select count of star from Wikidata, right? Dot collect. So this is a normal SQL query. I can run whatever query I want. Maybe I have two temp tables created. I wanted to join them. I can join. I can do whatever query that I can run on a normal RDBMS or a Hive or whatever Impala it is. I can do the same thing here as well. See, I've done 39,365 records. Maybe select star from Wikidata limit 2. I wanted to see 2 records. It gives you in a Unicode characters here. Those are the 2 records I've got here. Though I don't understand which record belongs to which row, right? But these are the 2 records. Oh my God, they give me entire records like this. Or maybe 2 records would have got there could be a lot of columns inside each row. So that's why it has given me a lot of records here. Maybe a lot of data here. Maybe what I wanted to do is I wanted to see the usernames, distinct usernames that are uh, present in this particular data. Select star from select. Okay, I take a select username, comma count to star as count from this thing. Group by username. Hmm, I would like to group by username, but oh, it got executed. I guess by mistake I pressed enter. Okay, I don't want entire data. What I want is probably I would like to see order by count descending limit 10. First 10 records I wanted to see because there are a lot of records. It is giving me the output for all the records. What I'm trying to do is how many, how many contributions that each user has done for Wikipedia. Each username, for example, there is a username called Vaxstats. He has contributed 2003 wiki data, wiki writings or something you can say. Here, what I've done is username comma count to start. I've named it as count from Wikidata, group by username, order by count, probably whichever comes the highest count that I want at the top, and I'm just taking only 10 records. But because if I wanted to do this in a normal transformation of Spark, it takes a lot of time for me. But whereas a single SQL query will do that. So I've done that by registering this input RDD as a temp table, right? Register temp table, right? I've registered this as a table, and I've started to query the table in whatever way I want, right? So that's about Parquet file format. That's about data frames using Spark. So any questions here? I'll stop here for a couple of minutes. Is everyone clear about how Parquet works and how is this data frame working? Starting from Ajay, Binoy, Dhruv, Lakan, Mukesh, Mukul, Tejasvi and BNP. Can everyone confirm please? Is everyone clear? Question about remembering. Okay. Would we know what all columns are present in Parquet file? Yes, you have to look at the particular metadata, right, Lakan? That's what I've shown you. The metadata tells you what all data you have on top of your Parquet file. That's how you'll get to know whether I have what all columns do I have in my Parquet file. And Like I told, data frame is a concept that is there in your Spark. When you have a data file, I wanted to query some, I mean, you have a file which has some data. Rather than creating a table, I wanted to query that particular file. How do I do that? There is a concept called data frame, which creates some virtual tables, right? When you register it as a table, register temp table is the concept that you would be using, and then you start to query it in whatever way you want. Okay, remembering all commands, of course, you have to, because there is no other option, right? Okay, and Mukul, what was your question? Unmuted.
Surya, can we can we can use data frames only by means of SQL context, right? Or
Yes, you have to use only through SQL context, because at the end what you are writing is you are writing SQL queries, right? So first of all, you have to create SQL context, and you have to take the combination of SQL context and Spark context, and then you start using.
so we cannot use data frames using simple PySpark or Scala code, right?
No, I mean data frames has to be run through SQL context.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
okay. And
data
the
frames is meant for kind of framing a table, right? Framing a table
Mhm.
on top of your data when table is not existing. That's what the meaning of data frame is.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. How about others? Muted. You guys confirm if you are comfortable? Ajay, Binoy, Dhruv, Lakan. So should I understand that you have understood totally, or you have not understood this because it is looking complex to you? If that's the case, I have to explain it once again. What I mean, wherever you're trying to tell me, so you have to let me know. Cool. Fine, guys. Probably let me proceed further. See, don't be in an notion that okay, let me watch the video once again. See, that's a damn time wasting. I would suggest. See, when you are concentrating on the session, that's enough. I mean, work on the case studies or work on the new things uh, around the revolving around our discussion, rather than watching the video once again. I don't ever recommend anyone to watch my video once again, unless and until it's a very pretty new, brand new concept or something, which will be difficult to ingest or something for you. That's when I will only suggest to watch my video once again. But these things, these practical things, I would request you to more practice it rather than watching it. That doesn't make any sense when you watch it once again after attending the session. That means you are wasting one more hour. Other than that, if you go and practice something, that makes a lot of sense, at least to me. So concentrate on the sessions, get the questions clarified as and when you're having some questions. Then you can happily go and practice the things. That's what my sincere advice. Right? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna send every file today. I mean, there's whatever directories I'm using, right? I'm gonna do a tar, and I'm going to send the tar file and how to untar it. I'm gonna show you probably after the session. I'm gonna send that. Okay. Now that's about Parquet file format. Now let's go ahead and deal with JSON file format. Mhm. Yeah. I would like to. I mean, I've So I've collected some World Cup related data. Let me open this particular file. I'm taking different data sets just to create some kind of interest to you. So here, World Cup, the year, and the team, number of participants, position, and the player name, the club he belongs to, the club country, and date is it's not just about parking. It's about if you have something like JSON, if you have something like text format, you can do for anything for that matter. Now I have a JSON data. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to run some analytics on top of this JSON data. So how do I run that is something that I'm going to show you. But first of all, rather than working on the entire data set, right, which would be a little confusing, I'm going to take a partial data set. Yeah, I've took only 2 to 3 records. First, let's do, JSON loading is not straightforward as your packet loading. So let's try to do this JSON loading of the partial file, and then we'll apply the same changes to your entire JSON file. That's what I wanted to do. So first, what I wanted to do is, first, similarly, like we have done, input underscore JSON equal to sc dot read the entire JSON file. Okay. Now input underscore j dot collect. Let's see what it is giving me. Okay. Or not given the entire. Sorry. Yeah. What I've done is now I've given the entire data set, right? And now I would like to see the collect. I wanted to see how it got loaded. What I've done is I've used whole text files. There's an parameter called whole text files. Using that, I've loaded it. But I could see that the first thing it got loaded is the file name and then the data. But why should I need this file name? I don't want this file name. That's it loaded this as my first parameter and rest all data is my second parameter. So let me eliminate my file name. So what I'll do is I use a map function, right? I use a map function, and what I'll do is I will eliminate this particular first column. Whatever first column is there, I would like to simply eliminate that. So with this, I will be able to eliminate the first column which is giving me the file name. See here, I'm done with that. It removed the file name which is coming as my first parameter. Now I could see that it is giving me the actual data. But there are a lot of new line characters because at the end of every record there is a new line, right? At the end of every character there is a new line. That's how my data is showing. So I don't want those new line characters to be here. So what I would like to do is I wanted to apply some regular expressions and I want to remove this new line characters. So how do I do that? Import regular expression, which is a module in Python. So input JSON modified equal to, I'm just giving some names so that I can easily recognize it. input underscore j dot, again I'm going to use this problem. Again I'm going to use map, and then lambda x of, what I wanted to do is I wanted to apply the regular expression, and I wanted to substitute, right? I wanted to substitute new line or whatever white spaces are there, because I could see a lot of new line characters, right? Whatever white spaces are there, I wanted to substitute that with null. Okay, so that I have to apply it on top of x. So I'm closing my substitute function. I mean, what I've done is simple. I'm trying to replace this particular white spaces with null, and I'm going to, after applying these changes, I wanted to return x. This is what I wanted to apply. So now when I look at JSON modified output, I should see an cleaned up data. Let's see. There you go. Look at the difference between earlier output and this output. Earlier output was full of new line characters, right? Because actually my data has the new line characters. What should I do with that? So what I've done is I've eliminated the new line characters. Right? Now, if I wanted to apply some kind of, now I can do some analytics on top of my data, I can happily do it. But again, I wanted to register it as a table, and then I have to start doing it. So let's do this. First of all, I have to explain this, that this is a JSON RDD. How do I explain that? Input underscore JM, right? So JSON RDD of input underscore Java, input underscore JM. I have to, okay, let me do it this way. SQL context. Maybe if I'm at to declare some SQL. Earlier I've used SQC, right? I'm gonna use the same thing. SQL context, right? I would like to name it as WC players or something. Okay. So what I've done is input underscore JM is a JSON RDD. I'm passing it through SQL context, and I'm creating a new RDD called WC players. Until now, I never told my Spark that this is a JSON RDD, JSON input file. Only now I told my Spark that this is an JSON RDD. Now I've got WC players, and I wanted to register a temp table. I can give a WC players tab or something, any name I can give to this table. And SQC dot SQL of, I can run any query now. Select distinct, maybe team name from WC players tab dot collect. I'm sorry. Not found WC player tab. WC players tab it is. Team. It's not team name, it is team. Okay. It gave me those syntax, right? I mean, the columns present. From there, I understood it's not team name, it is team. I've loaded a sample data set. So, how many distinct names are there in the sample data set? Argentina is the one. Argentina is the other one. I mean, distincts are only Argentina. So, that's fine. I mean, I got the perfect output. So, let me go back and change this data set as the whole data set without the partial data set. I'm just loading it entire data set, and then what I would like to do is I would like to apply some regular expression on top of it. I would like to make it as JSON RGB, and then I would like to register it as a temp table. I would like to run this query now. It should give me so many team names now. So here it is processing it. Now it should give me so many team names. There you go. I've got BL, Bulgaria, Korean Republic, Mexico, Denmark, Egypt, Serbia. I've got a lot of team names available here. See, it's a matter of getting the data as a data frame, and then you can run any kind of query, right? So maybe I wanted to know all the full names where is captain is equal to 2. I can do that. Select, okay, distinct full name from WC players tab, where is captain equal to true, something like this, or is it's case sensitive, so it is not taking it. Now it should give all the captain names that is present in that particular data set. Okay? It's a map, like I told, when I get the data as a table, it's about querying it and getting the results. So, yeah, I'll tell you what. There you go. These many captains are there, right? So these many full names with is captain is unable to true is there. That's how I got it, right? Again, I'll stop here for a couple of minutes to understand or to answer all your queries. Any questions so far? Anyone? So, oh, you lost my voice earlier? Okay. So you guys are able to hear me, right? Hopefully. Okay. So, any questions, guys? Is everyone comfortable so far? I mean, am I overloading you with too many concepts? If yes, I'll stop it here. Mukul, please.
Unmuted.
Surya, in real world, most of the data is converted into either Parquet or JSON or normal text file, and then uh, people do analytics on in Spark, right? Because what we have been seeing is most of the text file, whether it is JSON or a normal text file, apart from Parquet, right?
Yeah, I mean, see, Parquet, when you go to real time, you'll understand it. It's very heavily used. The reason is simple. When you have very huge data, why do I have to unnecessarily use my CPU IO, right? I mean, we have a table which holds all the events, right? That table is very lengthy table. It has almost like 350 columns. But when I query my table, I would like to query only 1 or 2 columns, or maybe 5 columns, or maybe 10 columns. Why do I have to select all the 300 columns and bring it to my RAM? Rather, I would get only those selected records and get it, right? So as simple as that. I mean, so Parquet is very heavily used, more than JSON or more than a text file when you go to real time, because it improves your performance to a very great extent. What that?
Okay, let me ask you in different way. So Twitter uses a Parquet file format, right, to store the data, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
it must be using Parquet file format to store videos and audios and images, right?
Uh, yes, it is binary data,
Okay,
of course.
okay, okay, okay. And all those unstructured
Okay,
data is converted into binary data. Okay.
correct. I mean, see that. I mean, we are talking about audio, video files, image files. All these are already in binary. So why do we call that as an unstructured as audio, video, or image files? They are binary file format. Okay.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
all about understanding what you wanted to store and how you wanted to store through Parquet.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
You did.
Like, I mean, so it's about applying the transformations again. When you have unstructured data, you wanted to structurize it. You can use regular expressions to apply some substitutions, and then you wanted to map it or a flat map it. It's all about the transformations that we have learned. We are applying an unstructured data to structurize it. Got that? And there is a concept called machine learning, which is called MLib in Spark, which allows you to do some more kind of machine learning on top of the unstructured data. Okay. So, as there are no questions here, I'm proceeding further. Or you guys wanted to revise this session? You want me to stop it here, or you want me to continue? Your call. Mukesh, yeah. Meanwhile, you can ask your question.
Sorry, I accidentally put the hand button.
Oh, okay. So if you want me to continue, yeah, I can continue. How about others? Shall I continue further? Okay, fine. Now, uh, I've got some. I would log into Hive. Inside Hive, inside our database, we have created a lot of tables, right? Show tables should give you all the tables that are present. Movies, right? Different kinds of tables are there. So when I run some kind of queries on top of Hive, if it is taking longer time, select distinct name from movies. It runs MapReduce and gives you the output, right? So I don't want to do that. Rather, I want to do it quickly, maybe through Spark. So how do I query some tables on top of Hive using Spark? So that's the question. Now, for that, I would use Hive context, right? So when I log into Spark, right? Let me just clear the temp directory because we are utilizing a lot of temp directory and it is not flushing it off, because of which we are facing the issues. So I'm shutting down the manager and relog into it. Then I'm going to show you something. What I'm going to show you now is I'm going to connect to Hive using Spark, right? You have Hive context available, right? Probably SQL CNTX or something. That's the Hive context that will be available, ready-made with the Spark shell. What I wanted to do is, I wanted to, using this context, I wanted to take a table, let's say batch 26 dot movies. This is the table I want, and I would like to store it in an movies RDB. And this movies RDB, I would like to register temp table, maybe movies, something like this. Because this is an RGB, I got it from Hive. Now I would like to convert this as a temp table. Now once I convert it, it's a matter of querying it again. Simple. SQL context of SQL, select distinct name from movies. So it's a matter of querying that particular table once again. and probably use collect to get the results, right? So it's matter of connecting to Hive and executing Hive query through Spark. So let's see that. See, SQL context, Hive context is available as SQL context. Let me change that. SQL context, even here, SQL context, that I would like to use the same thing. Copy, paste. Dot table, okay, got that. I'll tell you what is found here. From PySpark.sql, let me import a Hive context. Okay, I'm importing Hive context. Hive context of SC equal to SQL context. Then I'll start using this. Just like how we have used normal SQL context, I'm importing Hive context. Let me now use it here. Register as temp table. Okay. Let me do it in steps. Let me see where it is going wrong. Okay, until here there is no issue. SQL context dot table. There you go. This is the problem every time. Okay, that has to be given in single quotes. And then this has to be given in single quotes once again. Register temp table. Yep. Now I can run this query. SQL context. Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be an issue for this, I'm not sure. See, I started it at 1856.25. This took 23 seconds to give me the output, entire output of like select this thing name from movies. Oh, there are a lot of records. Distinct movie names are a lot of things, I guess. There are for 4,000, 49,143 records, right? It gave me all the things, but I didn't know the time. But obviously, it will take lesser time than this because this one I took 23 seconds because I have to launch MapReduce and give you the output. But this would run it even faster because I'm utilizing in memory, which is not MapReduce. Okay. But again, the steps I followed are same thing. I've imported Hive context. I've made a combination of Hive context and SQL context. Hive context and Spark context. And then I've started the same old query, which should be able to query the Hive tables as well. So what did we learn so far? Three things: querying Parquet files, querying JSON files, and querying, that's about data frames, and querying some Hive tables which are already there in Hive but using Spark. These three tables we have seen so far, right? Probably I want you to practice all these three things, so I'm not giving you any case studies for today. When you come back on Monday evening, that is Indian Tuesday morning, I would like to first discuss about the case studies on top of Spark. Meanwhile, I wanted you to practice all the things that we have discussed so far, right? And then we can work happily on the case studies of Spark. There are a few more things that I have to cover on top of Spark, which I'll be covering on Monday evening session. Yeah, everyone? Okay. So I'll stop here. Let's come back on Monday evening and discuss further on Spark. Thank you and bye-bye.